person closer to us, or bring someone who is outrageous. We used to have a statement in church that I know down south, and I didn't experience it in Chicago much, but I did experience it down south. I think I told you before. I watched a lady get extricated from the church for doing the Big Apple. Now, you all know what the Big Apple was or is. It was a dance. Some of the early movies that you see from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and all it was is very little touching that goes on. In fact, you can do the Big Apple by yourself. It's kicking your legs up, but it's dancing to ballroom type stuff. And that was forbidden in the church in McComb, Mississippi. And one day, one of the members of Flower Mound Baptist Church saw a young member of Flower Mound standing outside of where they had a jukebox doing the Big Apple by herself. And that person brought that young woman up before the church on charges of dancing the Big Apple in public. And the church put her out for doing the Big Apple. Now, if I had been back there, yes, I had something happen in Zion when I first got there, and I may have told you that. There was a young lady who had a child in the church, and she wanted to bring her baby up to the altar for what we call prayer blessing on the child. In the Catholic Church, they call it christening. We don't christen. We have dedication. And I said, by all means, so I had them to fill out a card and bring the child up on a certain Sunday in the month. And I would get down on the floor and take the baby in my arms and ask the parents a question, and then proceed to have them answer questions that they promised to live before the child so that that child may be led to Christ. And everybody said, yeah. And then I turned to the congregation. I said, do you promise to live before this child so that you will be an example of how the child ought to be? And they said, amen. So I heard a comment as this young lady brought her child up to the front of the church. And they said, the nerve of bringing that bastard child to the altar. My hair went up on my head like a rooster. I got up when I finished that blessing and got in the pulpit. I said, if ever I hear anybody make a comment like that in the Lord's house again, I'm going to have them up before the church. I said, but if you read the book, all of us are bastards. For we were born in sin and shapen in iniquity. The nerve of saying, oh, the person who made that statement almost slid down under the chair and lived to apologize for that statement. Now, the Bible's only inference to this is what you stated. And in our rules of deportment and discipline in the Baptist faith, it is mentioned that a person who refuses to be reconciled for any injury to the church, they would be put out if they refuse to be reconciled. And it's an act of reconciliation and not just putting somebody out of church. But the reason they say that they put people out is so that they may have a conscience about what they have done and wish to be restored, which is an elegant idea, which is a wonderful idea. But if we obey that one like we obey the Ten Commandments, the church will be empty for the next 50 years. But that's where forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness, not 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Amen. Any other questions? God bless you.